After including the servlet API, which is Jakarta's version of servlet API, we have resolved the error that we have encountered within the servlet initializer. Now we are good to go and deploy this application into the WildFly server. And the next immediate step is we need to create an endpoint, and we'll come back to the endpoint before that, endpoint creation. Before that, I would like to give you a glimpse on the installation process for the WildFly server. So here is the portal for WildFly server, which is wildfly.org downloads. Upon reaching to this portal, you'll be having the option to download the WildFly server, which is a Java Enterprise Edition server. It's an open source server, and right now at the time of recording this video, you can notice that it's reflecting 32 WildFly 32 version, which is under the beta 1 release. But we can make use of the stable release, which is there down, which is 31.0.1, which is a final stable release that have been released on the month of Feb 27, 2024. So you can just go to the specific 31.0.1, or you can make use of the beta 1 release as well. If you don't want to work on the stable, you want to work on the latest release, then probably you can look out for 32.0.0. But I preferably go for the 31.0.1, the final release. You have the WildFly distributions, you have the open source code of this application server is also available. But we are going to ensure that we have the binary release of this particular 31.0.1 version of the WildFly. So what we have to do is we just need to click on the zip, the archive. So just clicking on the zip, it will lead us to download this particular server. So as it is downloading, we are actually need to extract the zip file, and we need to go ahead and ensure that our WAR file or the WAR archive of our application gets deployed into this server. There are different ways and mediums to deploy our application into the WildFly server. Straight away from our Spring Tool Suite IDE, we can directly deploy it into the WildFly server, or we can use the Maven build command tool to directly deploy it into the WildFly server, or we can manually create a WAR file and then go ahead and deploy it into the WildFly server. If we go to the downloaded section, you can see that the WildFly zip file got downloaded. I already have this archive downloaded, and I have extracted that as well. So as you can notice that we have this WildFly 31.0.1 final release. I've extracted this file, the file, and upon getting into the directory, you will find the standalone directory. Under that, you have a deployment, and here where we are going to drop in our WAR file. So it all takes from the root directory. We have the standalone directory, and from there we have the deployment directory, and here where we need to drop our WAR file. So as you can notice that there are no archive files available in this. So once we have generated the WAR archive file, we can drop the WAR file inside this deployment directory, and we can start the server. And upon starting the server, this will also bootstrap the application which we have deployed within the archive of a WAR file. So that's which we are going to see right now. And before that, we can go ahead and create an endpoint. So for that, I'm going to create a class here quickly. So from this base package, the Spring Boot project's base package, I'm going to create another package naming as controller. And inside this controller, I'm going to create the employee controller class. So let's go ahead and create that employee controller. And inside this employee controller class is where we need to drop the endpoint code. The first thing is we need to activate this controller class as a REST controller, and we need to write the endpoint code or a function. So now we can drop the endpoint code. So as you can see here, I have my get mapping method, and the endpoint name is hello. And once we have done this, we can go straight into the resources directory where we have the application.properties. There is a application name which is defined here, and it is called as employee-app. So I just want to name this as employee alone. So I don't want to call this as employee-app. So the application is going to be called as employee application. So we can even name it as app without having an hyphen. So this is for our reference. When we are going to invoke the endpoint, we need to use this application name, which is employee app. So the first thing is we need to create a controller and create an endpoint, and go to your application properties and choose the name that you want to refer for this application. And that's it. We are good to go. So now we can go ahead and deploy this application into the WildFly server.